Economic Development. And this is regarding H703, some of which I don't know if you've caught up, but we have made some of these changes already. But it'd be helpful to us if you would take us through at a pretty fast clip. This isn't a conversation time. It's more of a tell us what you're interested in, and we can see if we can accommodate and work with our colleagues down the hall.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chair. I apologize that I was a few moments late today. So the other update I wanted to share is that my understanding is substantial parts of this section also are currently in House appropriations in S287, I think is the name, which is the current version of the weighting study. So yeah. I've actually also shared this with both House Ways and Means and then also House Appropriations and Senate Economic, as you know. So the bulk of this is about our rationale for why we think it's important that we maintain management of this last phase of the CTE governance and funding work.
We did make that switch.
Okay.
You needn't touch on that one. We made that change yesterday.
Okay. The only thing then most of this, okay, let me continue going through because a lot of this is then just cleanup because of that. But there were a few pieces that we took out to kind of right-size the proposed scope of work for the contractor with the amount of money, because that $180,000 is what we'd initially spec'd out for House Ed and House Commerce back in the summer. And then the list under the list had gone from like 4 to I think 7 topics of what they would do. So we have suggested that we just suggested some very minor changes for task 1, which is to complete the examination. We liked the original language because the way it was rewritten in Commerce sounds like almost like it's starting over, and that's not really what this last phase of work is. It's really finishing work that started under a General Assembly directed pilot grants program that we did 3 years ago. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then we, again, for examining the CTE governance structures, we really wanted to put in and also identify the best structures moving forward. Again, we're trying to really make this law very clear that this is not just another study to examine and to look at, but to actually act. So this really is about working on doing this work and simultaneously figuring out how to implement it, which is why we also strongly and very much appreciate, I forgot to say thank you for putting us back in the managerial spot of this work. This is an interesting one under 3. So for some reason, which we strongly object to just conceptually, the House Ways and Means version took out this part about examining the impact of any new CTE governance and structure on K through 12, which we think is really problematic. I don't know if it was just inadvertent, but as many senators know, especially in areas where it's a rural area, there's a small high school, messing around with the number of students that are going to CTE, I shouldn't say messing around, sorry, it's late in the day, I'm a little tired, but changing the number of students that are going to CTE or how that's funded, which we actually certainly want to move forward to as a state, still has implications for those K-12 systems, particularly in the smaller high schools. And then as well, the bulk, of course, of our CTEs are currently attached to and co-located with high schools. So we that's not on this sheet. I just want you to know, Mr. Chair, that was something we identified for House Ways and Means and Appropriations, because that whole section 3 was taken out. We hope,
Okay.
fingers crossed, it was just an omission by mistake. We want to delete the examination of funding and alignment of early college and dual enrollment, even for CTE. It's just a whole nother big study in and of itself. We would argue that this really broadens the scope quite a bit.
Is everyone okay with that? Okay, then, all right, I just want to poll the committee. You had mentioned that to us before, Dr. Boucher, and then we had Rep. James in, and so I think everyone is in agreement that we will do that. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Number 5, we just think it's redundant with work that we've already completed, both as a state.
Right.
I mean, this work goes back many years. So, you know, we're not going to be like, you know, freaked out if it remains in, but we just think it's redundant. So suggest to delete it. The entities that would do this work would already be very aware of what else is going on in other states around CTE governance and funding, as are we. Number 4 for the original and 4 for our proposed, because we proposed getting rid of those last 2 that I just talked about, focuses on, again, focusing on the action of the implementation plan rather than just identifying and prioritizing, but it's just kind of a refinement of language. So the committee can certainly make that call. We don't have any change for the contractor consulting with the other ongoing study around adult CTE. We think that's a good idea that Commerce put in. And then we changed, this was just reverting the project lead back to AOE under B, and the part that says honor before March 1st, 2023. So that was just a simple, there's really nothing there other than just changing it back to AOE. And same for that last section. So those last 3 sort of rows, if you will, are just about tidying up the language, which you may have already done. The committee may have already done.
Right. Oh, yes, I think some of that, yes. The reverting bit, yes, I believe so, but I will check. Yeah. Questions? Yeah, Senator Perkwood.
I support all the changes.
Okay.
I recommend this.
Anybody not? Okay, I think we're in good shape. Thanks so much. Have a
Okay,
good
I'm
weekend.
gonna go because my daughter is just flying for the first time on her own out of Newark, and the plane has mechanical problems, so she's freaking out. She'll be fine.
Hang in there, Mom.
Mom's more anxious than anything. Bye all. Thank you so much.
You need to take us off.